Let's bring in Elizabeth Vargas, a NewsNation contributor and host of the syndicated true crime series iCrime. Elizabeth, talk about that hardware clue there, that law enforcement would actually stop by to try to find a specific kind of weapon. What does that tell us?
It tells us they're looking, obviously, for the murder weapon, Adrienne. They were asking about something called a K-bar knife, which is a military-issued knife that has been used for decades by our armed forces fighting in wars. It's a large knife. They obviously think that that could be the murder weapon in this. But I want to talk about also something that one of the victim's sisters just told Chris Cuomo last night. She's right. They are losing critical time. Here's the problem. People in that town are frightened. They're scared, and they're all going home. And that poses a real problem for investigators. They need to be canvassing and interviewing everybody at that bar last night, that night where two of the victims were, and at that party where the other two victims were. Every single one of those people needs to be interviewed. And now many of these people are going home for the holidays early because they're so frightened.
Yeah, and those who remain in the community, officials have now said the killer could be a further danger to the public, but how can they be vigilant without more information?
Well, listen, it's a fine line police have to walk in these kinds of situations. They want to keep information that only the killer would know private, because that will help them when it comes to prosecuting this person and arresting this person. But they should never have said that the community at large is not at danger. Somebody in the community brutally murdered 4 people and is out walking around. That inherently puts the entire community at risk. They do keep saying this was a targeted attack, but there are all sorts of critical questions. How did one person stab to death 4 people? Were there more than one attacker in this case? Because it is extremely unusual that one person could overpower 4 people. We've already heard one of the family members say that they were told by police that their loved one did fight back, that there were signs of a struggle. Of course there were. This is not murder with a gun, for example, where you can incapacitate somebody very, very quickly. Stabbing someone to death is a brutal, up-close, intimate way to murder somebody. It usually shows a great deal of anger and passion, and to do it 4 times in one house in one night is extraordinary.
Yeah, and 6 people lived in the home. I thought it was interesting that there were 2 other women who lived upstairs. They weren't harmed, and they're cooperating with police. That has to be a big key.
Well, it appears that, according to one report, it was not one of those 2 roommates who called 911.
Oh, wow.
Listen, I have a college student who is away in school in Boston. This is a nightmare for any family with a child who's away at college. They often sleep till noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what they do on a Sunday morning after being out partying all night. So it appears maybe those 2 roommates slept through the entire thing and had no idea what was going on downstairs. We don't know. One thing is sure, it is really these police. And it's a small police force in a very small town that hasn't seen a murder in 7 years. And thank goodness FBI agents from Salt Lake City are on the scene assisting in the investigation. But they do need to be communicating with the families of these victims. And the victim's sister is right. They are losing valuable time and not allowing, because you can't stop people from going home for Thanksgiving break, but the fact that there's been an exodus of people from this town, an exodus of students going home and sort of scattering across the country or the region, is going to really set the investigation back. They need to be interviewing every single person at that bar and at that party about what happened that night. Anybody who might have been upset with one of the 4 victims and might have wanted to murder them for any reason.
It's so sad. Elizabeth Vargas, thank you as always for your time. Good to see you. And we'll wish those investigators luck in finding more clues.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.